From the Warriors giving the LA Clippers the unexpected beating of a lifetime, to Utah Jazz knocking Oklahoma City Thunder out of the court in Game 6, there have been a lot of insane comebacks in the NBA. So why don't we narrow down some of the best in sports history? Starting off with the massacre of the LA Clippers by the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors had high hopes of succeeding and defending their title in 2019, but seemed to be having a tough time. Even though they had the championship in the bag just a season ago, some sports betting platforms painted them as slight outsiders when it came to winning next year's championship. The Boston Celtics, on the other hand, had taken their place as the favored team for the season. The betting tips labeled them as the team to beat, as they seemed to have learned from the mistakes they had made last year, and were on the grind to make sure they didn't happen again. But that still didn't take away from an incredible game during the first round of the Western playoffs in 2019 between the Warriors and the Clippers, with the latter giving a remarkable performance. Things between the Warriors and the Clippers went south fast in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. Dub Nation watched in awe as Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, the star duo at the helm of the Warriors, started to show signs of complacency and overconfidence, allowing a huge 29-point lead to slip away. As Game 6 stretched into a nail-biting finish, KD and Steph were unable to secure the victory, and the Clippers emerged victorious, taking home the 135-131 win. It was a mind-blowing game, and a moment no one will be forgetting anytime soon. Just like how people will never forget what Oklahoma City Thunder did to the Utah Jazz. From the start of the game, the Thunder seemed to be out of luck. They were 3 games behind in their series with the Utah Jazz, and didn't have an inkling of hope. It looked like the team was heading for a humiliating loss at home. With the crowd already starting to drift, a bit of luck changed the whole picture. The Stifle Tower. Utah's Rudy Gobert was called with a 4th foul on what could only be described as a phantom call. That's because Gobert didn't appear to make contact with Carmelo Anthony, but was sent to the bench with the Jazz ahead by 21. Thunder fans were hopeless, as they thought their team was going to suffer a humiliating loss regardless. But boy, were they wrong. The send-off was a gift from God, and the Oklahoma City Thunder took full advantage of it. In the blink of an eye, the whole game flipped on its head, with Russell Westbrook going on an absolute scoring frenzy. His 20 points in the third quarter seemed to tie the game back up, before he added another 13 in the fourth to finish with an incredible 45 points. But despite his heroics, Jazz managed to pull off a win in the 6th game. Regardless of that, Westbrook's performance still went down as one of the greatest comebacks we've seen so far. But it's still nothing compared to the show that the Cleveland Cavaliers gave the Indiana Pacers in 2017. The matchup between the teams was pretty intense, especially in Game 3. It all started with the Pacers coming out guns blazing, scoring a franchise record 74 points in the first half. They even had a 25-point halftime lead, which was the largest ever deficit for the Cavs in the playoffs. But then, out of nowhere, their offense went ice cold in the third quarter. The Cavs, on the other hand, were shooting lights out. The NBA king, LeBron James, then took things up a notch in the fourth by turning into a human wrecking ball and led the Cavs to a huge victory, overcoming an almost insurmountable 26-point deficit. It was an insane turning point for the Cavs in the playoffs. That win was the beginning of what would be their 3rd straight finals appearance. Even with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love on the bench, the Cavs still managed to pull off this feat with the one and only LeBron James carrying the whole team. It was a memorable night for the NBA community, but trust me, it wasn't the only one. Clippers fans still get a grin on their face to this day when they remember the beating they gave the Memphis Grizzlies in 2012. A spectacular first-round showdown between the Clippers and Grizzlies got off to a fast start. The Clippers' offense struggled early on, scoring only 40 points in the first half, as the Grizzlies quickly built a 27-point advantage. As the game moved forward, the third quarter was wasn't much better for the team either, and things really started to take a downward slope after the Clippers entered the fourth round. The team was trailing by 21 points, but then, suddenly, something clicked within the team, and the whole game took a turn no one expected. The Grizzlies seemingly crumpled, both on their defense and offense, and the Clippers went on an absurd 26-1 run. With 35 points in the fourth quarter, the Clippers nearly matched the Grizzlies' total from the first half. Nick Young was on fire, dropping 9 in the fourth, and Blake Griffin added a further 8. Chris Paul literally put the icing on the cake by sinking 2 free throws to give the Clippers the lead. The team was able to hold on to their lead and won the game 99-98. If you think that comeback was unexpected, wait till you hear how the Atlanta Hawks made NBA playoffs history in 2021 when they came back from a 26-point deficit against the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers were on fire that season, and the match they had set up seemed to be ideal to ensure their win, with even the match being on their home court. Now, the same team, which was the MVP runner-up, had 3 All-Defensive Team of the Year members, and the home court advantage was completely outplayed by the Hawks. But it wasn't a piece of cake. The 76ers had enough chances to put the game away, but they completely wasted them. They missed 8 free throws, turned the ball over 10 times, and shot poorly from the field. On the flip side, Trae Young got hot, and Lou Williams, aka the closer, came off the bench to do his thing. He scored 15 points in 23 minutes and helped lead the Hawks to victory. And just like that, the Hawks had now taken a 3-2 series lead, putting the pressure back on the 76ers. It was one of the best comebacks in NBA history, and the Hawks were looking to finish the job when the series returned to Atlanta for Game 6. While we're on the topic of finishing jobs, the Memphis Grizzlies sure did a hell of a job in Game 3 of their first-round series against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the 2022 playoffs. The Wolves had a massive lead at the beginning of the second quarter. They were up by a whopping 26 points, but the Grizzlies weren't ones to give up so easily. They managed to take a 7-point lead going into the final quarter. From there, the Timberwolves went on a strong run, taking their lead up to 23 points with less than a quarter to go. But the Grizzlies clearly had other plans, and they weren't ready to go down without a fight. They went all out in the fourth quarter and took the lead with a huge 54-22 run. It was an incredible turn of events that stunned the Timberwolves and their fans. The Grizzlies eventually won the game and the series 4-2, but they were beaten by the Golden State Warriors in the following round. That's all for the most insane comebacks in NBA history.